joined now by Mary Katharine Ham, putting to her the same question I just put to Matt Continetti. Mary Katharine, the host of Getting Hammered. Good morning, Mary Katharine. How are you?
Hello, I'm all right.
Good. Mary Katharine, on The View yesterday, Vice President Harris, asked by Sunny Hostin if she would do anything differently from President Biden, said, nope, not a thing. I think that's up there with George H.W. Bush looking at his watch, Mike Dukakis getting in the tank. I think it's with Mitt Romney 47% and Gerald Ford's Poland remark. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's just devastating. She is running as a change agent. It's always been ludicrous, and now she's revealed how ludicrous it is. I mean, the campaign slogan is a new way forward. What exactly would you say is new? And by the way, Sunny Hostin gave her two bites at this, and she couldn't figure it out either time. And I think what you're right to point out, I think that George Bush looking at his watch or Dukakis in the tank, part of those were the physical manifestation of the gaffe, right? And there was a physical manifestation of this gaffe. She looks at the ceiling,
yes,
and pauses,
yes,
and then says, as if the ceiling tiles are going to give her her answer, and then says, not one thing comes to mind. Now, what I find so mystifying about this, and even more devastating maybe than the actual answer, is that there is no answer. She has not thought for a second about answering this. And I find that insane. And if she has thought about it, it's completely left her, because you and I know, we speak publicly all the time, there's a gracious way to give an answer to this question without totally selling him out. Not that that matters to her, because she kicked his butt off the ticket anyway. But
yeah, because here's the gracious way. I'm not going to Monday morning quarterback a great man who made a difficult shit. But I think we both agree we wish we would have paid more attention to the American citizens in Kabul, the green card holders, the SIV people. We probably should have stayed at Bagram and not Karzai. We regret the deaths at Abbey Gate. And on Ukraine, maybe the president shouldn't have said a minor incursion might not lead to war. Maybe we ought to send more and let them use it more robustly. On Israel, maybe our intelligence could have been better. Israel's failed as well. But the pier was a bad idea, and I think Joe regrets the pier. She could have talked about the border, 3.2 million last year, any number of things on the border. She could talk about China and shooting down the spy balloon earlier, or standing with Jimmy Lai. She could have talked about spending. She could have talked about inflation, Keystone Pipeline, DOJ weaponization. Is there anything that she can say in a gracious way? Put yourself in that position. You're Kamala Harris, Mary Katharine Ham and Sunny
Hostin.
What
you say, yeah, I think you pick, and I'm actually, I'm going to crib this answer from a conversation I had with Guy Benson last night. We were talking about this. I think what she could do is take what is kind of a backwards-looking question and turn it forward, right? Because she doesn't want to talk about the past. But what you can do is you can telegraph that you had disagreements with the president in private. And I'm not going to get into nitpicking that. And he's a good man, and we working as a team. But, you always have these conversations, and I don't want to, betray that trust. However, I think we can all agree that I am a different person, and here's what I would do in the future. I think that's how I would couch it if I were in her situation. But the problem is that because she's part of the administration, there's not a great answer here unless you totally sell him out. Her tack is just to pretend she has nothing to do with it. And the problem is she ain't even good at pretending.
No, she's not. And she keeps insisting that she was in the room and that she was a big part of everything. I mean, I would go with personnel. You could say, well, look, my cabinet's going to look very different. My Department of Justice is going to be very different. I'm going to reform the border, as I've said. We're going to get There are so many things. So here's the question. Does it change any votes? Because I had former President Trump on Monday, and the distinction could not be more clear. He's going to back Israel in attacking Iran. She won't. All right. That's just one of many. Do you think she lost the election with that answer?
I think she may have, because what it feels like to me is that she nuked the possibility of convincing undecided voters with that answer, because that's what they want the answer to.
Yeah, the right way, wrong way direction. Only 28.5% of America think we're going in the right direction. 61% say we're going in the wrong direction. She put a bear hug around those numbers. She said we're staying the course.
Well, and here's what's interesting to me also is that sometimes when the polls are confusing as they are in this election, and you're this close to the election, look at the behavior of the campaign. She has radically changed her media strategy from her hermit strategy. She has pitched this wild budget-busting Moab idea of long-term care under Medicare that just came out of nowhere. And she's starting fights with a successful governor facing a Category 5 hurricane that she's obviously going to lose and has fallen flat on her face trying to do. That guy's not even in the race. Why are you fighting with him? And I think it's because they don't feel good about their campaign. They're seeing stuff that is bad.
I'm going to talk with John Ashbrook at the beginning of the hour from the Ruthless podcast because they have the numbers. They get to see the internals because of their connections. I think she's losing badly. Yeah. What do you think? Yeah. Mary Katharine, stay through the break and answer that on the other side of the break because I think she's losing. I think they know she's losing, and she's a deer in the headlights, frozen. She doesn't like her campaign staff. She can't fire them because there's 23 days left and people are already voting. I'll be right back with Mary Katharine Ham. Mary Katharine, do you think Kamala Harris is losing?
Her behavior suggests that they are, and she knows more about her numbers than I do. Well, I shouldn't guess that. She seems to know nothing about anything, but somebody knows that her numbers are not looking right because there's no reason to change your campaign and act in these ways because she's a very high-risk person to put out in public. And if they're doing it, there's a reason for it. And I think it's because there's something very bad in their numbers.
Now, I have one bit of data to get you to reflect on. The Fetching Mrs. Hewitt and I are still in Maine. We come back next week. And it's turned cold. Time to head south to the Beltway for the winter. And we see the ads for Only Murders in the Building and Slow Horses. They're all on Apple TV, right? And those ads include a lot of Kamala Harris ads. Now, anyone who knows Hulu ads, you buy them by region, you buy them by time, and by demographic. So they're trying to appeal to older Americans. Betsy and I are seniors, and they're trying to do so via Hulu and Only Murders in the Building and Slow Horses. I don't know what that demographic is, but the Maine is blue. The second district is red, so Trump will get one. New Hampshire should be blue, and she's using the Maine media market to reach northern New Hampshire. What's that tell you?
Interesting. Yeah, that sounds not great for her. Now, they do have money to throw around, but they also maybe aren't being if they're not being strategic with it, then that's a problem. And if they need that money there, then that's a problem.
This brings me to the last question. I've never had a producer in 25 years of this show. I've only had Dwayne. And so it's really doing a show without a producer is a little bit difficult. I am wondering, do you think she has a campaign director, or did she keep the Biden team and are they just done with her?
Well, that's kind of my theory, actually. My theory is that maybe, look, we've heard about her staff leaving in droves over the years, that she's very hard to work with. Is it possible that you got a bunch of Biden leftovers and former, Obama loyalists who are trying to coach an uncoachable person who is also is a mean boss? And at the end of the day, they're like, well, we did what we could. That's kind of what it feels like.
I think that could be the case. A mean boss.
We cannot besmirch the name of Dwayne and compare him to former Biden campaign staff.
Yeah, he's sitting there quietly taking it, so he's not listening to the show, so he deserves everything that he gets. But you and Vic always compliment your producer, and we all know in this business nothing happens unless there's a producer. There's somebody behind the curtain at Team Kamala. It's not Doug Emhoff. He's got his own problems. I don't talk about him because they don't meet the Kavanaugh standard or the Clarence Thomas standard, so I don't talk about him. But I just think that this is what happens when you don't run a presidential campaign in the primaries. You don't know who's any good, right?
Yep. No, it seems like she's not serving herself well, and it doesn't seem like she's being served well either. And that combo will put you exactly where she was on The View yesterday.
Last question. Victor Davis Hanson, for whom I have immense respect, used to have him on all the time when I had an afternoon show, but it's too early in California to get him out of bed in Fresno, has written that he expects the continued slow deterioration of Kamala Harris's numbers based upon the accumulation of weight of her errors. I think that's persuasive. Does it persuade Mary Katharine Ham?
I'm not sure I'm ready to go there, but I read this, and I do think there is a possibility that she's in a loop and sort of maybe a downward spiral that she can't get out of, because each of these media appearances is going to be bad because she can't do them well. Period. And each one of them, I mean, there was just a smorgasbord from the 60 Minutes, and then she goes on The View, which should be the easiest thing in the world. And by the way, how poetic will it be if Sunny Hostin is the one who asked her the question that brings her down?
Oh, please, God. Please. I think the tank, Poland, looking at the watch, Sunny Hostin, that is perfect. I've never met Sunny. All I know is that she appears to play a lawyer who is playing a lawyer who slept at the Holiday Inn. I mean, she really is not very good at this.
No, no, and she's also pretty vicious in her sort of political commentary. So, and it's such a Kamala partisan that it will be delightful to watch this be part of the downfall.
It will be wonderful. We're playing this clip in 10 years, and it's still appropriate. Mary Katharine Ham, good luck with the Smalls and the Youngs and everybody else you have to deal with. I appreciate it. Look forward to getting hammered with you and Vic. As I got a long drive ahead of me, I'm saving up a couple episodes because it's the one podcast that both the Fetching Mrs. Hewitt and I can listen to through the Bluetooth as we drive. So we're going to save up 4 or 5 episodes. Thank you, MKH.
Well, enjoy. All right, bye.